Oh my god, Lua, did you see this new?
Oh, about what?
I think it's about Trump.
It's about Trump economics, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that means that the US just adopt a new American first policy that basically emphasized like the trade protectionism and the use of reciprocal tariffs on major trading partners.
But what is that?
Basically, this is a scenario like we assume that the U.S. government imposed reciprocal tariffs on Taiwanese products. Actually, so
What kind of products, like, I don't know, machinery or semiconductors or electronic components?
actually, all of them, because now Taiwan is also considering how to respond to those kind of measures.
Oh, that's interesting. But I feel like I don't have enough background to really understand it. So I don't know if I understanding correctly.
Well, it's not. It's easy to explain, so I
Mm.
can do it for you. But let me ask you first. Like, do you know what is tariffs?
No, actually no.
Well, tariffs are like some kind of taxes placed on imported goods. So basically, they increase the price of foreign products, making them less competitive compared to the domestic ones.
Mm.
So there is such a thing like also called reciprocal tariffs that we are. If we talk about economics, we talk about them too. That means one of the countries raise their tariffs, and the other country basically responds raising their tariffs as well. So imagine this in the US Taiwan context. If the US rises their tariffs on Taiwanese products like those that you mentioned, semiconductors or electronic devices, Taiwan might probably rise tariffs on American goods too, like as a return. So this is kind of something like you can see really usually like nowadays because in this period of global tension, one of the examples I can give you, and it's really early one, is like in 2020, like the Trump administration, like the 2.01, announced that 32% of reciprocal tariffs on selected import or unselected Taiwanese import goods. So basically, they start negotiating and they reduce this to the 20%. But still, this measure directly affects all the Taiwanese industries in exporting in the U.S. Another example could be like this is kind of not common. I have to say, like instead of relating on its own tariff, Taiwan basically choose not to impose any kind of reciprocal duties on U.S. Instead, their pursuit for negotiation strategy often increases purchases on U.S. goods and reduce certain like kind of trade barriers to end the tensions. So those are kind of examples that we can give you here right now.
Oh, I get it. I get tariff now. But it can't be just that, right? Is there something else?
Well, yes, there is. And basically, besides tariffs, governments also use quotas as tools of trade protection.
Mhm.
So, do you know what is quotas?
I don't really understand it. Can you explain?
Yeah, sure. Like, there's a difference between tariffs and quotas. Tariffs raise the price of imported goods and reduce the quantity demanded, right? But at the same time, allow the market to adjust to that. But with the quota, however, directly limits the number of units that can be imported. So a country might probably prefer a quota when it wants to a strict limit on import products. So basically, they don't care about the prices; they care more about the quantity that they get it. So, however, quotas do not generate government revenue in the way that tariffs do. That's a fact. But both tariffs and quotas reduce market efficiency and create deadweight loss. But there is a key difference between both of them. Tariffs generate tax revenue for the government, but quotas transfer benefits to whoever holds the import license.
Interesting. But how does this affect like the US market? Can you give me like an example?
Yeah, sure. Like, so I have a graph here for you. So
Okay.
let's take a look.
Okay.
So basically here you can see like for the domestic import market, imagine this. Like domestic prices increase and the quantity falls for the quantity of import products falls because of foreign goods became more expensive, right? So then the domestic producers gain because they can sell higher prices. And the consumers, at the end of the day, they lose because they pay more and buy less. The government, at the end, they just collect tariff revenue.
Oh, all right. But like that explains imports. But what about exports, especially from Taiwan?
Well, actually, that's a great question, though. So now let's switch the perspective. Taiwan exports price decrease, and the export quality also falls. So at the end, Taiwanese producers lose revenue, and the industry becomes more vulnerable, especially those sectors that they depend so much on the U.S. market, like semiconductors.
Oh, I get it. So after all of this, like, what does the situation actually lead to? Like, what happens then?
Well, for the United States, mixed though, because consumers lose because they face higher prices for imported goods, so that's not good at all. But at the same time, domestic producers gain because they face less forbidden competition, so it's basically a benefit for them. And the government at the end gains tariff revenue, so they still get the money, which partially offsets the efficiency loss. However, when we compare the tariff revenue with the dead weight loss, the net welfare effect it's typically negative. So that means that even though that some groups get benefits, that in this part it's the producers, the economy as a whole, the whole, just course off. So under Trump economics, reciprocal tariffs, we can say increase prices, of course, reduce trade, of course, create dead weight loss, and lower overall economic welfare. So, yeah, that's basically what I can resume about this.
So okay, so it's like U.S. win the battles but loses the war, right?
Yeah, exactly. So tariffs might look powerful as a national strategy at first, but economically, they often weaken the very system. So they were meant to protect.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey Ingrid. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you remember Trump economics and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, if market power changes the way the firms set prices, how does apply to in the real world companies? Can we connect this with something happening nowadays?
Absolutely.
Like what?
The perfect example is TSMC.
Oh.
That leads us directly to TSMC as a dominant producer in the advanced chip market. Because, for example, TSMC produces the 90% of the world's most advanced chips.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, especially 3 nanometer and below. And the biggest clients include Apple, Nvidia, MT, wait.
It's not
AMD.
AMD.
Yeah. And Qualcomm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Another one. So, in that case, any company almost basically most of the 90% of all the competitors, they don't get to what TSMC do. So basically, they almost make the cutting edge chips that we use nowadays.
Exactly.
Oh.
And because TSMC controls such a large share and advanced production, it has just a monopoly power in this segment.
How the monopoly behavior actually work? I don't really know. I don't get it that much.
Well, let me draw you something.
Okay.
Okay. This is the standard monopoly diagram. TSMC chooses its output where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Once they pick that quantity, they go up to the demand curve to set a higher price.
Okay.
So, exactly, they charge about. So, it creates the profit rectangle on the graph and leads to the dead weight loss. Compared to the perfect competition, since fewer chips are produced and some willing buyers are excluded.
So what happens with the AI bone nowadays? I keep hearing Nvidia and OpenAI still need a lot of chips. So what happened in that case?
Well, that is a great question because a search in AI chips, demand shifts the demand curve to the right to award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that raised both like the equilibrium price and the quantity, making like TSMC profit even larger.
But if it's so profitable, why don't more companies like set their or they enter in the market?
Because like TSMC cost is brutal.
How brutal.
Because they face like extremely high fixed costs, fab construction, R&D, and even like lands and EUV machines.
So that means that the cost is like billions?
Yeah, on top of that, they have variable costs such as like electricity, materials, and labor. The huge fixed costs create like strong economies of scale.
Mm.
So giving TSMC a natural monopoly advantage is advanced manufacturing.
Oh, so that's why like they can get in, or maybe we can say like earn more profit.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, here in the monopoly graph, TSMC total economic profit is the area between the price and the average cost. And they can like sustain a positive long run profit because competitors struggle to reach the same yield rates and technological efficiency.
Ooh. But what about like the other new plants abroad? Like I listened that they have many like getting started in Japan or US. So does this change anything?
Yes, TSMC fabs in Arizona and Kumamoto and more like are long run decisions because they like involve massive fixed instruments and investments and long planning horizons. Like these choices shapes TSMC future capacity and global strategy. So like in not short run plans.
Oh. So there's any possibility like could anybody like ever challenge them?
Possibly like for example in if interfoundry services or like Samsung maybe successfully produce 3nm or 2nm or 3nm chips, they can like make the market could shift from a near monopoly to an oligopoly.
Oh, so that means more competition?
Yeah, exactly. The prices might fall and the TSMC dominance will weaken, but for now TSMC is like remains as the main leader.
So the big one, great leader right now. Well, that's really cool because I didn't realize how one company can shape that much the tech world.
Yeah, and that's why TSMC is the perfect, like, the real perfect world example of monopoly.
Oh, okay. So that's cool to know. Like, I finally get it why.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So now I finally get it.
Yeah, one topic down and 5 more to survive.
Yeah, I know. But you know what, Ingrid? I still think like I finally get about like TSMC, like how they work like at near monopoly. But I'm still curious about one thing. Like, does like market failure only happen because of monopolies?
Not at all. Monopolies are one cause.
Oh.
But there's like another big one.
Which one?
Negative externalities.
Okay.
Yeah, because that brings up to like air pollution and market failure.
Oh right, yeah, like the pollution. That one feels more way personal. Like literally you breathe the market failure every day.
Yeah, and let's take an example. Air pollution.
Okay.
A negative externality happens when production or consumption impose cost on people who are not like part of the transaction.
Oh, so like when factories produce goods, but they also release smoke to the damage public health, right? So even though like people living nearby didn't choose to be part of the market. Oh.
Yeah, and here's the key: the producers don't pay the full social cost of that pollution.
What it means that?
Since like the private cost is lower than the actual social cost, the market creates too much pollution.
Which means that the market fails because the price didn't like reflect the true harms to be done.
Yeah, right. Wait, let me draw something.
Okay.
Okay, here's a graph. This is, for example, the market equilibrium quantity, and it's higher than the social optimal quantity.
Oh yeah, like the gap between the marginal social cost and the marginal private cost, right?
Yeah, pollution doesn't need a passport.
So how did governments fix this?
They usually have like two options. They can like command and control policies, like emission standards or mandatory filters. Like they kind of direct, but they're more expensive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the second one is like Pagovian taxes. Tax is equal to the external cost. Like that shift, for example, here, that shifts the marginal private cost upward until it meets its social cost.
Oh, so that means that firms produce less pollution because now it's expensive to pollute, right?
Yeah, and that pushes pollution toward the socially optimal level.
Oh, okay. But are real countries doing this? Like, there's some kind of like examples to give it?
Yeah, the EU. Wait. Yeah, the EU.
I think
carbon tax.
Yeah,
maybe?
the EU.
The Taiwan air pollution fee and Singapore's vehicle quota system. Like, they are all examples.
Oh, like they're not perfect, right? But they show at least like the government intervention can affect this kind of pollution and reduce it.
Yeah, totally. But there's something like I still don't get it.
What?
That like, what happens when pollution or crosses borders? For example, like smoke moving from one country to another. Do you know that?
Well, then the externality maybe became like international, and required cooperation. Like some examples could be like carbon markets or regional agreements, or even shared standards.
So, like in a way, these act like Pagovian taxes, but in a global scale.
Exactly, like economic tools apply internationally. So now, like, I just want to recap a little bit because we talk about many topics.
Yeah.
So today we kind of take a look on 3 kind of market failures actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one is the first?
The first is Trumponomics and tariff. We say here like distorted trade between the U.S. and Taiwan, affecting prices and quantity international in market.
Oh yeah, and also TSMC like show us a firm like how with massive economy of scale can behave like a monopoly, right?
Yeah.
And setting prices above competitive levels where like they are like shaping the global supply chain.
Yeah, and the third one that we just talked about is like the air pollution. That demonstrate how negative externalities lead to the overproduction and require government intervention to protect the society.
That's so interesting though, because if you think about it, like those are different problems, but same pattern. Like the market doesn't apply really well always.
Yeah, that's why policy matters, like tariff, regulation, Pagovian taxes, and more. They all exist because the real world isn't a perfect market.
That's true. So maybe like the invisible hand needs a little bit of help, maybe?
Yeah, maybe like a push.
I agree.